scientists are at a loss to explain what is causing this weather and why it has taken them by surprise.
That sudden drop in temperature as half an hour ago, Mexican officials closed the border in the line of so many U.S. refugees.
Be prepared to go live to Los Angeles.
Are you getting this on camera? What you see is happening now.
Look over there behind me! That's a tornado! Yes! A twister!
This is just massive.
A couple of days ago, let me just show you a little picture from Wednesday of last week. That's what this hurricane looked like, okay? It was a Category 4 storm, very powerful, churning off the coast of Mexico.
A white Texas police officer on administrative leave after the cell phone video captures him pulling this 15-year-old bikini-clad girl down who is black. Slamming her head.
On your face!
From a courtroom to a coma in a matter of hours. Last week, Mitchell Martinez got into a jail transport van in Vero Beach, Florida. About 3 miles and 8 minutes later, the 35-year-old is in cardiac arrest. He dies 4 days later.
Heavy rains have battered central China's Hunan province, leaving 6 people dead and 3 missing. And more than 123,000 people have been evacuated.
From a courtroom to a coma in a matter of hours. Last week, Mitchell Martinez got into a jail transport van in Vero Beach, Florida. About 3 miles and 8 minutes later, the 35-year-old is in cardiac arrest. He dies 4 days later.
Upon him entering the van, showed 0 signs of distress.
At a press conference on Monday, the Indian River Sheriff said there was nothing out of the ordinary about the transfer. He defended his officer's actions.
He was segregated into a separate, if you will call it a cell, you could call it a cell within the van. There was absolutely no indications of anything unusual. There was very light traffic. There were no detours, no stops.
According to the sheriff's office, there were 7 other inmates who were in the van. None of them heard or saw anything.
There was no other inmates that could touch him, no officers that could touch him.
When asked about jail transport protocol, a spokesman for the Indian River Sheriff's Office told CNN, "We offer the inmates the opportunity to either buckle themselves up or if they need assistance, we can buckle them in." He says the inmates are, quote, "not required to be buckled." On a memorial Facebook page for Martinez, speculation swirls. Specifically, how did he end up with these red marks on his neck? Friends also curious about why the video freezes here.
What do you believe in your heart happened?
I believe foul play.
Ryan Monto has known Martinez since high school. Brad, as he called him, was supposed to be the best man at his upcoming wedding.
Brad's been in good health for 27 years, and all of a sudden he has this, he's dead in 8 minutes for no reason. I mean, it's kind of quick and abrupt. It's just a shock for everybody that knows him.
For Martinez's friends and family, the circumstances surrounding his death don't add up. They say Martinez was burdened by his court date last week, wanting only to clear his name. Now, after his death, the family says it may be the Indian River Sheriff's Office that's going to have to clear theirs.
Family and friends I spoke to very curious about those 2 red marks on Brad Martinez's neck. They also wonder why the video that you watched in that report, why it froze the moment that Brad Martinez got into the police van. They highlight that on the Memorial Facebook page. The official investigation, we should mention, is pending toxicology reports, so we'll be waiting on those.
Heavy rains have battered central China's Hunan province, leaving 6 people dead and 3 missing. And more than 123,000 people have been evacuated. The rainfall in the first week of June has reached a record high, twice the amount of the same period in previous years. As of Saturday, the heavy rains have affected more than 1.5 million of people in 7 cities in the province, including Yueyang, Changde, and Zhangjiajie. Weather authorities say a new round of heavy rain is also coming, which will make the situation even worse.
I told you, just leave me the alone. Don't touch me. The out my face.
A woman threatened, pushed, and pistol whipped, according to police. Late tonight, that man was identified as 24-year-old Xavier Amaya, the victim's boyfriend. The video was shot yesterday evening at Bullhead Memorial Park in southeast Albuquerque. Of course, there's a lot the video doesn't show.
Action 7 News reporter Laura Terrain spoke to the person who recorded about what led to the fight and what happened after.
I told you to leave me the alone.
It's terrifying video captured Saturday at an Albuquerque park. Police say that's Xavier Amaya pointing a gun at his girlfriend, then shoving her.
Don't touch me. My face.
Jenny Wonder recorded this video. She tells me she does not know the man or the woman he's attacking. She was just trying to enjoy a sunny afternoon at Bullhead Park when the confrontation began.
He kind of flies in from the parking lot with these with 2 girls. You know, there's a big fight going on, and he just immediately had the gun out in the girl's face.
You can hear Wonder in the video saying she's going to send the recording to police. Then she gets involved, yelling at Amaya to go away.
Get the out of here, homie!
He does, walking out of frame into the parking lot. Wonder says she immediately started helping this girl who was bleeding after getting pistol whipped. Then Wonder called 911 and posted this video to Facebook. Hours later, police arrested Amaya.
I'd really like to think that some of the, the social media and like blasting that video and whatever maybe sped that up.
She says she's glad a man who turned a day at the park into a life-threatening event is off the streets and behind bars.
And police say Amaya is now facing several charges, including aggravated assault on a household member and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Back to you.
This morning, the Red River in Louisiana is threatening dozens of homes. Floodwaters from Oklahoma and Texas forced the river to swell. The water level reached a point not seen in decades. Adria Goins of CBS station KSLA is in Bossier City, Louisiana, right across the river from Shreveport. Adria, good morning.
Good morning. The water behind me has not reached this high since 1945 when it crested at 38 feet. The water is expected to reach 37 feet today. That's 7 feet above flood stage. 24-hour sandbag stations have been set up, and officials are urging people to pick them up day or night to protect their homes from this rising water. The flooding is swallowing dozens of houses, turning them into islands and submerging them up to their roofs. Louisiana's National Guard worked late into the night filling sandbags, the white satchels serving as a line of defense against the overflowing river.
This is the Circle Drive.
For Caddo Parish Sheriff Steve Prater, the devastation is personal.
The glass is beginning to break from the pressure of the water.
He's trying to save his home from 2 feet of water that's already crept in, surrounding and destroying his family's belongings.
Just devastating.
On Sunday, a man and his dog were evacuated by boat. And Black Hawk helicopters were used to deliver a pair of water pumps to a water treatment plant that's been isolated by the flooding. Lieutenant Terrell Hamilton can't believe just how high this river is.
Wow. One word, wow.
The waters are supposed to stay at 37 feet for the next few days, and they aren't expected to dip below that flood stage until the end of the month. And to make things worse, they're expected to have rain later this week. Jeff.
Adria, thank you very much.
As Oklahoma and Texas flood waters still swell along the Red River to historic levels, the loss has become personal and catastrophic in this area in Caddo Parish. Let's talk to the Sheriff Steve Prater. You'll remember, if you're a fan of the show, that we talked to Sheriff Prater last week as they were sandbagging around these homes, hoping that they would be able to keep this flood water out. Well, since then, His home is just one of dozens flooded in the northwestern Louisiana, and pumps keeping the water at bay finally gave out, sending in 3 feet of dirty water. Sheriff Prater joins us right now. Hey, Sheriff, good morning. And first of all, we're so sorry about these images and the flooding that we're seeing in your community. Let's talk about how people are doing this morning.
Well, people are doing pretty good. We're very pleased that the river seems to be cresting. It's only gone up like a tenth in the last 2 hours, so it's slowing down its rise. Now it's the backfill and the backwaters, the tributaries are starting to back up, and of course we got 30-something roads closed. We have several hundred homes that are affected by it. We're still just fighting with the sandbags and using prisoners to sandbag and National Guard, and it's just a mess.
Well, Sheriff, you can see it from those images, and you can also see what a beautiful community you have there, and also in Bossier Parish. Let's talk about what people there need. How can we help them?
Well, if you can figure out a way to drain the river
yes,
quicker,
sir.
that's what we need. As far as supplies, we've got water, we've got food, we've got those things because we've got a large community, and relatively speaking, a small portion is affected by it. But so that's what we need. Everybody's pitched in so well together. Like I said, the National Guard, the local, the fire departments, police departments, sheriff's offices. Everyone is doing all that they could possibly do.
Now, Sheriff, I know, let's just get personal for a minute with you, if you'll allow us, because I know you were so busy in taking care of the parish that you had a great deal of floodwater damage in your home. We saw some of those images. What are your plans? Personally, what are you guys going to do? Because I can see the furniture in your home, the kitchen, the water's up to the cabinets in the kitchen. What are your plans, sir?
Well, I tell you, I hadn't slowed down enough really to think about it. I've got some friends that we're staying with right now, and we're going to be, my place is totally ruined in addition to a lot of antiques and very nice things. We put out 1,000 or so sandbags and all sorts of hay and things that we tried, and it just wasn't enough. Like so many people, and I couldn't stay with it and couldn't save the things that were in there because I was too busy with other duties. But that's not whining. That's just what I'm supposed to do. And,
no, sir.
And anyway, it's we'll just have to start anew and figure out maybe people need fewer things. I don't know. Maybe that's the purpose. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Sheriff, we're going to keep following the story with you because this is, as we've mentioned before, flooding that people in this area, most of the residents have never seen and could never imagine anything like this. Thank you for your story, sir, and thank you for what you're doing for the community. And I'm so sorry about your home and all the losses in those areas.
Fighting for water. For 3 days, this neighbourhood in Accra has been without clean water. People are getting desperate.
No water to bath, no water to drink. Apart from this one, we are receiving now from government.
This was one of the communities worst affected by Wednesday night's floods. Not only has drinking water been contaminated with petrol, but sewer systems are blocked with rubbish. To avoid an outbreak of a disease like cholera, clean water is a priority, as is rebuilding lives. Many here have seen their homes and possessions destroyed.
They need, like what they are doing now, they need water, they need electricity, they need sanitation, they need food, they need house.
Accra's worst affected communities have been promised help. The government has launched a $13 million emergency fund to assist those affected by this disaster. Victims say they have already received basic provisions like water and clothing, but what they really need now is money to help rebuild their homes.
Okay.
Jocelyn Nunkwa was at her house on Wednesday night when the rain began to fall. She says the water soon came in, destroying everything in its path.
The rain started around 5:30. We thought the rain would stop. Before we know, the whole place got flooded. Before we were smelling petrol. Before we know, the whole place got fire. We break this place, we climb this wall, then we escape through this roof.
Jocelyn is now staying with a friend. Despite losing so much, she says she still feels lucky.
I nearly drowned. It took God's grace to save our life. I thought I would die. It surprised me that I'm alive today. Our things got spoiled. We don't have anything, even not a dress to wear.
The Ghanaian government estimates that at least 200 people died as a result of the floods, which caused a petrol station to explode and turned roads into rivers. Many hundreds more were injured. Some of the missing remain unaccounted for. Katerina Fatozzi, CCTV, Accra.
Dangerous fire raging at a chemical plant in Hanover, Pennsylvania, breaking out early this morning. Firefighters on the scene being warned about toxic air. ABC's Ryan Smith is here with the latest. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Robin. An inferno igniting in what officials are calling a major hazmat incident in central Pennsylvania. The smoke filling the air so toxic, authorities are advising people to avoid it and stay inside. A massive fire engulfing a chemical warehouse this morning near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, in what officials are describing as a major hazmat incident. Towering flames engulfing the building as thick plumes of smoke billow through the sky. A witness posted this video to Twitter, which he describes as chemicals from a burning warehouse. The blaze began around 3:30 this morning. Officials issued an emergency shelter notice for residents within a mile radius, although it's unclear whether the smoke from the blaze is hazardous. We just learned moments ago that the fire is not under control, but it's contained. People are being urged again to stay in their homes, but no word yet on injuries or fatalities. Robin?
All right, thank you.
Well, early Monday morning, Tropical Storm Blanca officially made landfall in the Baja Peninsula, northwestern Mexico. And of course, they're getting a lot of heavy rain, big time wind, things like that. Now, just a couple of days ago, let me just show you a little picture from Wednesday of last week. That's what this hurricane looked like, okay? It was a Category 4 storm, very powerful, churning off the coast of Mexico. So, of course, people nice and prepared, and this is a good thing, especially after Odile hit last year in the Baja Peninsula. Now we're going to shift our attention to what's going to happen in the desert southwest of the United States. You know, we get a lot of moisture kicked up from these storms. Sometimes it can cause some flash flooding. Well, look at how much moisture there is today, and then watch what happens over the next couple of days. As it starts to get farther toward the north, not quite as much, but still the overall story is there's going to be a little bit of moisture kicked up into the desert southwest, probably enough to cause at least some thunderstorms on Tuesday. And considering how dry it is out there this time of year, any of those could produce flash flooding.
Now to that police officer, Texas police officer, in trouble after that confrontation at a pool party was caught on camera. The officer has been placed on leave after he was seen slamming a young girl to the ground and pulling his gun on the group of teens. ABC's Tom Yamas is here with more on that. Good morning, Tom.
Robin, good morning to you. When you watch this video, you see things started to turn really ugly really fast. There are a lot of kids and not a lot of cops, chaos, and then what some are calling a questionable police takedown.
This morning, a white Texas police officer on administrative leave after the cell phone video captures him pulling this 15-year-old bikini-clad girl down who is black. Slamming her head.
On your face!
Then holding her down on the ground for several minutes. The situation prompting questions of excessive force as the officer is seen taking out his gun as two others appear to rush in to help the girl. The incident began outside a pool party in an affluent suburb of Dallas, where, according to the police, officers responded after residents called to complain about several teenagers who did not have permission to use the community pool and refused to leave. The cell phone video does not show the moment that sparked the incident, but does show the situation escalating.
Whoa, sir, get on the ground. Hold up, sir. I told you to stay. Your
Down on the ground. Sir, we just came for a birthday party, please.
First, 3 officers, then an additional 9 officers end up responding to the crowd of about 50 teens.
Don't make me run around here with 30 pounds of here on the sun because you want to screw around out here.
Local station KDFW spoke with the girl after the incident.
And I'm guessing he thought we were saying rude stuff to him. He grabbed me and he like twisted my arm on the back of my back, and he shoved me in the grass, and he started pulling the back of my braids, and I was like telling him that he can get off me because my back was hurting really bad.
That girl was not arrested. The officer in question could not be reached for comment. 2 officers from the department's Internal Affairs Department are working this case right now. Police say no one was injured. But just to give you an idea at how big this story is growing, last night more than 1 million people saw the clip on YouTube. This morning, George, more than 4 million.
We're here today because of the unethical misconduct and racial misconduct of a police officer here in the city of McKinney. I received a call the night this issue happened, and the young man that videoed this, that put this on video, the first word that came out of his mouth was this was about race. We're here to address, and I've contacted the Justice Department, and we're going to have them monitor this. And it's our hope and prayers that the chief of police and the mayor of this city handle this situation by not only firing this officer but taking his T-close license, because this was simply based on race. The officer never asked any questions. He jumped out of the car and immediately started running to the black kids. And we, to this day, would like to know why. The young lady that got into a fight with the young kids was making racial statements and cursing throughout the entire event, asking the officer to bring more police officers. And when the officer got there, his language was outstanding and unnecessary as well. This simply could have been handled different by this officer asking them to get off of that property, or they would give them a citation. But this officer didn't do that. And as a corporal, he should know what needs to be done and how it should be done when it comes to people that are on properties that they shouldn't be on.
Welcome back and over to the United States, where hundreds of people in Texas have held a rally calling for the firing of a police officer over his handling of a black teenager. Now, this demonstration comes in response to a video showing McKinney Police Corporal Erica Casebolt throwing a bikini-clad teenage girl to the ground after a pool party disturbance. Now, the incident is the latest in a series of cases that have fueled the waves of protests across the United States over what civil rights activists say is a law enforcement's unjustified use of force against the minority groups. Now, Casebolt has been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. An eyewitness to the Friday's incident in the city of McKinney, which is about 50 kilometers north of Dallas, described Casebolt as acting out of control. Activists and community leaders in Texas have called for the police officer to be dismissed, saying his actions were racially motivated.